So today I'm bringing you along just to explain the situation that I ran into to hopefully help some others out there in case they have this same trouble code. The problem that I'm having is this vehicle had multiple problems, got them all figured out, and lastly it was throwing a boost pressure sensor code, something to that extent, the overcharging pressure trouble code. I'll get you a shot of those, but basically I wanted to show you the potential problems that you can run into with that trouble code. And the vehicle in question, of course, is this 2016 Ford Focus. It's an ST model. It's a 2-liter turbocharged motor. And the trouble codes in question are the P0236, boost sensor A, circuit range, and then the 0234 overboost condition. So basically, once everything is verified, checked out that there's no boost leaks or nothing crazy of the sort, and it boils down to just simply a sensor problem, this is what the pitfalls that I am going to try to help you guys avoid. Apparently, there are multiple sensors that can go on this vehicle, and that is the problem I ran into. This, when I was looking up, trying to order the correct sensor from my parts supplier, nothing was too specific as far as which is the correct one. There are map sensors and there are boost sensors that they call for or label, but they only showed a couple of them. One was a Bosch one, which was this guy here. And next was an actual Ford sensor, which is this one here. If you look at the number at the bottom, the CV2A. And neither one of these ended up working. I installed them and the same trouble codes would come back. Lastly, this one, the BV6Z, is the one that was correct. So basically what I am telling you is, looks like the main part prefix number from Ford is this 9F479. Past that, there are these figures here before the main number that I guess describe the internal workings or how they are spec'd out as far as voltages mean what pressure. Because the problem I was having with these two plugged in, being that they are incorrect, key on, engine off, the vehicle should read on this data pin for the charge sensor right at atmospheric, so 14-15 psi. Once you start the vehicle and start to boost, it'll go up from there. These two, key on, engine off, the pressure was close to almost 40 psi. It was like 37, 38. So the vehicle already thinks it's boosting, and once you start driving, PSI goes up from there, and the vehicle just goes into limp mode because that's way too much pressure for the load that it has. This one here, when I plugged it in, key on, engine off, was right at 14 psi. That's how I knew this was the correct one. So the thing that I want to describe, and the way I ended up figuring out, because I obviously had ordered and bought two and still did not work. So you call the dealer, you give them the VIN number. Hopefully they're nice enough to tell you the part number, or if they have the correct one, for the turbo charge air pressure sensor part number. Then you can look it up and order the correct scaled one for your application. And to just quickly also show you, even on Ford, when you look it up, here's the intercooler, there's that pressure sensor, and they only give you that middle number of the entire part number, not the digits beforehand that describe specifically the pressure that it's scaled at. So it can be very difficult because all those different prefixes beforehand make it what's going to be correct for the scaling for the application you have. Now these are 4-pin pressure sensor. So you have a power, ground, a 5-volt basically pressure signal that goes back, and then the last one is a temperature signal that goes back to the PCM. That's why it's a 4-pin. That's the first thing you need to look for when searching for the sensor. And then to verify and see what you have, pull up your PIDs. I use charge as the keyword. And so you want to look for the temperature one, which you want it to be just key on as if the vehicle's cold. It'll give you the basically close to atmospheric temperature. Let's see, and I'm not finding the other one, so let's see, maybe pressure. So there's your barometric pressure. That's where the boost sensor should also be close to. Now that's the desired, but not the actual. And then you have manifold, that's not the one, the charge one. So it's going to be this one that they describe. So let me pull all these up. Okay, so you have your temperature one, that's part of the same sensor. You have the manifold one, that's basically a map sensor, true map sensor in the intake manifold. And then you have, which this one, believe is just 3-pin. So you can't use that one on the charge intercooler. And this one that's labeled as boost at throttle inlet pressure. So basically before the throttle pressure reading, you want that to read 14 or 15 psi. And that'll rectify and fix those trouble codes that would keep coming back if you keep installing the wrong sensor. Mine at that point was like, again, close to 38 with key on, which clearly is incorrect. Your temperature one might be correct or a little bit higher. I can't remember what it was, but main thing is the pressure reading. You want it as close to atmospheric. So in closing, I just wanted to bring awareness to the fact that there are multiple sensors that can be applied in that location. You just have to get the correct part number for your application that scales it properly for the voltage readings that it needs to see, and so on and so forth. So you could be on the correct path with that trouble code being a sensor issue, and you might think that there's something else going on if you keep getting the wrong sensor over and over. So just make sure to look at that PID and go based off of that. You want to start off with atmospheric and boost up from there. So I hope that helps some of you guys out there if you run into this problem. Thank you for watching, and that's all for this one.